This is going to be the third class of Unit 3, Financial Market, Money, and Banking. Talk about interest rates today. Interest rates, quite simply, the easiest way to think about it is the cost of money. One of the biggest problems, or the biggest leads to confusion of macro, and especially Unit 3, is that we think of money separate than we would think of apple juice or Coca-Cola or basketballs or chairs. We think of it as a separate entity. However, money is something that we buy and sell like anything else. It is controlled by supply and demand, and there's a price of money, and that price is the interest rate. If you don't have money, you go to the bank, they give you money, you pay it back later, but in the end, you give them more money back for the service of lending you the money, and that additional money, that interest rate, is the price of money. That's exactly what it is. Borrowers want a lower interest rate, means money's less expensive. Savers want a higher interest rate, that means they're getting more compensation for lending out money. So it's the same thing in micro, that buyers want a lower price for apple juice, sellers want a higher price for apple juice. Unexpected interest rates and inflation are very important, because when you get an interest rate, it's based on people's belief of what the inflation rate is. And if there's more or less inflation, that will change it. So we know this equation, R equals N minus I. Let's say you and your bank agree to an interest rate of 3%, because we expect 3% inflation. And let's say there's 5%. That means at the end of the time, you're going to be paying back money that's 2% less valuable. A real value of your money is 2% less. So borrowers want more inflation after they take out the loan. Lenders want less inflation. Interest rates are connected to aggregate demand as well. Interest rates are very important in our economy, and this will lead to this will lead to monetary policy. Now, one of the things monetary policy, but directly, this is how the Fed can influence our economy, by controlling the interest rates. If interest rates go up, consumers won't take out loans to buy things like cars, expanding their housing, big ticket items like washer, dryers, appliances, redoing their kitchen. Additionally, businesses won't expand. They won't increase their capital stock, their factory. When interest rates are low, or when they decrease, the opposite happens. Consumers will borrow money and businesses will expand. Bonds, this is a loan. It's complicated because a lot of us may be familiar with loans, mortgages, stocks, but not a lot of us knowingly buy bonds. They may be in our mutual fund, they may be in our retirement account. A bond is a saving tool that can be issued by a corporation, by a municipality, by a bank, by a government. And basically, the lender buys the bond. When you buy something, you hand money over. Same way you would go buy pizza. I go to a pizza store, I get pizza, I give money. Bonds the same thing. If a bank or a corporation wants money, they'll issue bonds. You pay money to get the bond, now you have the bond. At some later time, later date specified on the bond, you can exchange that bond or return that bond for your money, your original amount, plus interest. Once you have a bond, like anything else, you can resell the bond. You can sell it on the secondary market. And there's a very important relationship between bond prices, which have already been issued. These are bonds that are already out in the economy, and the interest rates that change in the economy. So let's say Darren, and this is very important, the AP exam absolutely needs you to understand this, buys a bond from the US government. Darren pays $10,000, and it's 5% because that's the current interest rate. So in the first year, Darren gets a T-bill, Treasury bill. It's 5% because the interest rate's 5%, and he spent $10,000. In year 2, his interest rate is still 5% because it always is. But let's say the interest rates in the United States drop to 3%. That means his bond is paying out $500 every year, which is 5% of 10,000. But the current bonds being issued are only paying out $300. So everybody in the world can buy a U.S. government bond at 3%. Darren has a winning lottery ticket. He has a 5% bond. People want this bond, and he can sell it to them. However, the demand for his bond has increased. And so he's going to need more than what he paid. He paid $10,000. He'll want more than that. He'll want $12,000 because more people want his bond because his bond is giving a higher interest rate. That's why interest rates and the bond prices are inversely related. Interest rates go down, the price for an issued bond goes up. And now let's say in year 3, interest rates rise to 7%. He has a 5% bond, which is a loser. He wants to get rid of that, but nobody wants it because anybody can get a 7% bond. So if he's going to sell his bond, it has to be less than $10,000, so maybe he sells it for $8,000. Interest rates go up, the bond price goes down.